Welcome back to part 3 of my journey in Avowed. This time we're going to the Emerald Stair. As soon as we arrived, we helped out this little pink lady. Apparently she was looking in the area for some sort of godless vase. One vase later and she was off to Fior Mesaverno, but we had a few stops to make first. But before we went our separate ways, I dug through this backpack, which apparently belonged to her, because she said this.
A few inches.
Gardener, you are aware I can see you digging through my things, aren't you?
Well, that was awkward. We continued on and saw some zombies tending to the local farms. We were on our way to Tama's cabin. Tama was a friend of Kai's who had passed and left him something in his cabin for him. In a heartbreaking turn of events, it turns out Tama and Kai loved each other, but neither one was able to say it out loud to the other. Kai needed some time to reflect on his lost love, and I was ready to give it to him, so we continued on with our journey. In Fior Mesaverno, we ran into Giada, who was in the middle of getting kicked out of town. You see, she wanted to research into the Dream Scourge, and the mayor of the town wanted to believe that the Dream Scourge didn't exist. How convenient. An animancer who was wanting to look into the very thing that I was trying to stop. She was welcome to join. But before she could leave, I had to go to some people who owed her a favor and see what they knew about the Dream Scourge. And of course, all three of them needed help. I was tasked with, putting down one of the zombie farmers, answering some questions for these two at the docks who were way too interested in godlikes, and finally going into a dangerous wood with tree monsters to get the heart of an Odragon. Yeah, one of these tasks was clearly way more dangerous than the other two. I ended up having to spend gold to respec my character for the first time in this forest. I tried multiple times to either fight my way through or run through to the end, but I was no match for these tree monsters. So I ended up respecing and taking an ability to let me go invisible for a short time. With this ability, I walked my way straight to their queen, and she just gave me the heart. Easy as that. If this keeps up, I have a feeling this game's going to be like Fallout New Vegas, where non-violent solutions are way easier than violent ones. Anyway, returning to Giada, and she had me go to the basement to get her phantasmal focus, which is something that her parents use for animancy. When I got down there, I saw the bodies of her parents, covered in some sort of tree plant matter. I returned to Giada, and she was free to come along with us. Now, Giada will likely remain a permanent party member on my team, as she is a healer. And weirdly enough, Obsidian did not give you too many ways to heal in this game. And I think this is my first negative I've mentioned about this game so far in these videos. There's not really, from what I can tell, any way to make your own character a support character. You kind of have to be either a tank or a DPS. And on the one hand, I get it, you're supposed to be the chosen one and all that. It'd be kind of weird for the chosen one to be a support character. But on the other hand, I really like playing support in RPGs, so I'm overall pretty negative about this decision from them. But honestly, that's a fairly minor complaint when the rest of the game is as good as it is. Anyway, continuing on, next time we went to camp, I realized you can actually cook in this game, and take some of the more basic foods you get as you're adventuring and turn them into better foods. That string of words sounded so weird to me for some reason, but I couldn't think of a better way to put that. We continued on to what is essentially the graveyard for the people of the Emerald Stair, and opened up a secret tunnel underneath the temple. Like any good video game protagonist, we went inside the secret tunnel. We fought our way through the tunnels, and in a previous life I took this really cool looking weapon. This led to me getting absolutely wrecked by these specters. Also, I apologize if you hear random thuds. I think the upstairs neighbors just got home. Next time through, I just ignored the cool looking weapon and continued on in. We fought against the final boss of this dungeon, and honestly the boss was less difficult than the tree monster that fought alongside it. And no, I will not be referring to these tree monsters by their actual name, because I have no idea where to even begin on pronouncing it. I reached out to touch the Adra, and discovered that I was exactly right on who the voice in my head was. Meet Sapadal, the god of the living lands, and the god who made us a godlike. They were trapped away for some reason, and want our help to free them. In exchange, they'll help us defeat the Dream Scourge. They told us to look for the garden, which is where they're trapped. The only problem? Nobody knows where or what the garden is. No one, that is, except the people who lived here before. The godless. That little pink lady we got the vase for earlier just happened to be the island's premier expert on the godless. So it's back to Fior Messaverno for us. Except when we left, we saw in the distance that Fior Messaverno had been destroyed and burned. The culprits? The Steel Garrote, led by Inquisitor Ludwin. You mean the obviously evil lady from earlier turned out to be evil? Color me shocked. Also, I found out after recording this part, this is apparently preventable as long as you find the Steel Garrote's hideout and stop them before they burn the town. Whoops. Also, fortunately, the pink lady, Yatsley, had survived the attack, as well as a few other refugees from Fior Messaverno. I told them to make their way to Thirdborn, where I would meet Yatsley, and she would help me find the garden. So my updated thoughts on the game. I'm still enjoying it so far. It's definitely still a great game. I'd recommend going and playing it, especially if you have Game Pass. But I have noticed myself cooling off on it slightly. I kind of hinted at it earlier when I talked about how the play styles were a little bit more limited than I expected, but I also have a few issues with the story so far. Overall, it's been great, but I do kind of wish I had been wrong about a few things. I don't know, it just kind of felt like the foreshadowing early on was a little bit too obvious, and I really wish there had been a little bit of misdirect. The plot of this game kind of revolves around this mystery, and if you already figure out the mystery right at the beginning, it kind of takes away some from the discovery. I am curious to know how surprising a lot of these things were for fans of the Pillars of Eternity games. Like, did established lore kind of lead you in a different direction to make the revelations more surprising than it did for me, a newcomer? I don't know, if you're watching this and you're a fan of Pillars of Eternity, just drop a comment down below to let me know either way. Also kind of a strange complaint, but this game is actually a bit longer than I expected it to be. Quite a bit longer, actually. Like, I'm already 16 hours in, and I haven't even made it to the last settlement, let alone even close to the garden or the in-game content. And I know a lot of you watching are probably wondering, well, that's a good thing, right? Like, you get more game for your money, more bang for your buck. But this is very specific to being a YouTuber. The longer game means that I'm going beyond what I expected to be putting up for videos, and I'm spending more time on this game than I had planned. That said, I'm sure if I was playing casually, it would be a great thing, you know, just getting more of a good game. And if I make any videos on this game in the future, I'll know about how long it is in reality. It's just kind of a drag for this particular series. I'm wanting to move on to other things. And with that said, next week actually won't be another Avowed video. I have a very strange schedule over these next couple of weeks. So I'm going to be putting up a Fallout New Vegas run next Friday that I've been sitting on for a little while. It was actually supposed to be the first video on my channel before Avowed came out, and I decided to do this dive into the game. It'll also give me a little bit of a break from putting up Avowed content every week. And hopefully next time, when I come back the next week with another Avowed video, it'll be even better. And hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll be the finale. And then I can move on to other challenge runs, other games I want to explore. I actually have the next month and a half of videos planned out, and I'm so excited. So that's all for this video. If you've enjoyed it, be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see what comes next. Bye!